Welcome again to Apple Tree Cottage here in the Scottish borders. It's lovely to see you. This is May the 20th, 2025, and I'm here again firstly to show you my progress on sampler stitching, which I'm sure you're all waiting to see how much I've done. Because it's May, I spend a great deal of time in the garden, and there will be some film footage at the end of the episode just showing you how my garden, my beautiful garden, is looking this month of May. So I do have a finish, and that is the basket of cherries by Blackbird Designs. And I have to say I absolutely loved doing this. I think for a couple of reasons, or 2 or 3 reasons. I really liked using the cocoa, 32 count cocoa by Weeks Dye Works. I like the looseness of the fabric. It's an easy stitch when it's 32 count and the weave is loose. And so it tended to be something that I did rather later at night, or when I was just rather more tired after gardening. It wasn't a stitch that required intensive cross stitching. However, it is a stitch that does require quite a number of colour changes in the threads, and the design is quite intensive itself, so that you are having to focus and concentrate on the chart. There's not a great deal of sort of yards and yards of border in this at all, where you can learn, you know, it's 5 along and 2 down, 5 along and 2 down, and then you just go until you've finished. With this one, you really have, it does keep you on your toes. But that's what I found, one of the reasons I found so enjoyable about it. The other reason would be the 2/2. I'm not somebody who is particularly bothered about so-called twisted stitches or that level of perfection in something like this, though I can be a perfectionist in other areas. So 2/2, I liked the rather thicker coverage, which gives a much bolder effect at the end. I liked that. And I absolutely love the colour choices of the yarn. That's the booklet for it, Garden Club Series 1 by Blackbird Designs. And yes, it is all Gentle Arts sampler threads. And I came across a new one for me, a new red, which I love and I'll be using again, called Ruby Slipper. And that's this very luscious red for the cherries. However, it's vibrant because of the juxtaposition with the blues there. And the blues in this are, I will tell you, the bluebird, the large bluebird, is aged pewter, and there's also tin bucket, and the little bird at the bottom is tin bucket. So that's rather nice combinations of blue, aged pewter and tin bucket. So a very lovely stitch, which I highly recommend. I think it's certainly still available. Oh, and the other reason that I really like it is the fact that it is an incredibly balanced design. As a design, this works, in my opinion, the best of all of this particular garden series. And that would be because there's a large amount of red and a large amount of blue within the actual area. I think it's 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches. And as a design, as a final design, something that you would look at, I'll probably make this into a little cushion and have it in my conservatory. it's very, very satisfying as a final design that we live with. And this will go in my conservatory because the colours of my conservatory are terracotta and blue, whereas the rest of the cottage here, as people know, is red and green. So there we are, a finish for that, and I highly recommend. Now, the next one that I've been working on is Merrily, Merrily We Welcome the Spring by Blackbird Designs. And I struggled to begin with the first few weeks of this. I'm alternating it with Come Into My Garden by Blackbird Designs. And I did come to this very slowly. I pushed myself after an initial burst. And then ended up absolutely loving it. So it's worth pushing through. It really is worth pushing through with things when we get to a place where we're thinking, oh dear, do I really want to go on with this? Now, I had a good look at it. What did I do? My progress was all of the little berries on this border. I've completed all of the little berries. I've completed the inner little line, it's Mountain Mist going down on that side. And then I've been continuing with the borders that are horizontal and the alphabet. And I've got right down to this beautiful blue here. And that's probably another reason I'm starting to really enjoy it. I discovered the reason that I wasn't enjoying it, and that is the colour. That's the colour. If you look at the pattern book, the chart book, the fabric, the linen, which is advertised as oaken, comes across in the photograph as really quite green, and the colours of the thread come out as darker, a good deal darker than what has been happening with me. And I stopped stitching last night and had a jolly good look at it, and I've decided the reason that I haven't been drawn, haven't been enjoying it, is because of the colour. And so I was looking, I've done a fair amount, and I was thinking, well, will I stop and start with a new fabric? I looked up two that might work. They're greenish. Then I thought, well, I don't know about that. I've just bought a whole lot of Gloriana silks, and there's so many directions, aren't there? And so what I've decided to do is, because I do love some of these colours, I love the raspberry, and I'll just see what the blue is. What is the blue for this one? Oh, that's the wrong one. The blue is, and it's not even the darkest blue yet. So the blue that I have reached is Dublin Bay by Classic Colourworks, but there's an even deeper, more gorgeous blue, which is Blue Corn by Classic Colourworks. That's I must have it in a box over there, but I can see from the chart that Blue Corn is a good deal deeper than what did I say the other one was? Dublin Bay. So what I'm going, the thing is, the colours here in this one are vanishing. You can't actually see all that work in the vase. And I'm not so sure about this red against the oaken. The oaken is reddish in itself. As you can see, it's a very reddish linen. And I'm realising that if you don't get the right linen colour as the backdrop, of course, it's not particularly going to work. So what I've decided to do is, because I love this blue, I'll love the deeper blue, I love the raspberry that's coming here, and I absolutely love the Swiss chocolate, which is in this lowercase alphabet. I will go to DMC and to Weeks Dye Works and to Gentle Arts and to Classic Colourworks and choose deeper browns and keep going with the raspberry and just, I think this is baked apple, that is baked apple. I don't think baked apple works with this, so I'll be choosing different reds, probably keeping the raspberry, and then going with more of the Swiss chocolate and maybe some other DMC, since there's such a range of colour with the DMC. And the vase is stitched in, mostly, it's a mixture actually, but there's quite a lot of chickpea, which chickpea is not coming out on my oaken. Of course, the thing is, there are different dye lots, so you could have an oaken that works for you. But I think I have solved this, and I'm so happy with my decision that I am not going to alternate this in the coming week. I'm going to keep going with it. I'm not going to put it down and pick up, come into my garden. I'm going to pick up, come into my garden, but I'm going to keep going with this as well. You'll be very pleased to hear. And if you have any other thoughts about the linen and the threads on Merrily Merrily We Welcome the Spring, then pop them in the comments. It'd be lovely to hear what you think. Now, I try to work on 3 samplers a week, and the third one is quite interesting because I've had nudges and nudges and nudges to do this for 2 or 3 weeks. And Moments of Glad Grace, again, I love Blackbird Designs. And I was following the Contented Stitcher, Kim. I'm really liking her pink. She loves pink. I love pink too. And lo and behold, she is doing this. So I feel I'm linking across the pond, as they talk about. With this one, I had the linen in my drawer, and I am actually going with the it doesn't actually have a title, this one. It's just the actual Moments of Glad Grace, I suppose. Yes, that must be actually what it is. And I had Legacy by Pictureless Plus, so that was one of the reasons I thought, no, I'm going to go. But in fact, as I say, I did have strong nudges, and I think this is 40 count Pictureless Plus. That's how far I've got. Started on the border, and then because I'm doing so many other borders, I jumped across to the main flower. And as you can see, I have not followed the chart. With the main flower, I have decided to go with 3 colours rather than just 1. And I will be playing with this a little bit because I'm not sure about the reds in this. And Stormy Night's very dark. So I will, I'll perhaps play around with the colour a little bit. It uses 36 count Legacy by Pictureless Plus and Classic Colour Works, Gentle Arts and Weeks Dye Works threads. So there's quite a mixture in here, and I will be playing around a little bit. But in fact, this is to follow on from Basket of Cherries because it's probably got the same amount of stitching in it. Basket of Cherries was, they're supposed to be small and quick. They're not. As people know, I'm working on Rhodes Cottage Pin Keep by Stacey Nash, and it certainly is, it's a vast amount of work. So I should think this will be a quick stitch, So these are my 3 samplers for the week. My plan is to continue with Merrily Merrily in the coming week, to pick up Come Into My Garden again by Blackbird Designs, and go with the 3rd one. And you'll have to wait till next week to see what my 3rd one will be because I haven't decided yet. Well, as people will know, I have been busy in the last few weeks sewing, and dressmaking has been top of the list, as I have been inspired by Karen Larson and other ladies at the turn of the last century who were embroidering and sewing their own clothes, and I just decided, yes, I have to do that. So this is the result, and I'll just stand up a little bit and show you something that is very comfortable. It's cotton, it's 100% cotton, and the blue and white stripes are inspired, as I say, by Karen Larson, the Swedish artist and homemaker, and the wife of Carl Larson, the artist. And so if you have done sewing in the past, if you've done dressmaking in the past and haven't for quite a while, then perhaps you'll be inspired to go and get your sewing machine out. You can see my one there, and make your own. Now, I embellished this with a little lace collar, eBay, wonderful. It's probably machine made, but you know, time being of the essence, I decided to go with this rather than, I was tempted to do a knitted lace collar, but the choice was made just to go with a ready-made, which I'm really enjoying wearing. The sleeves are quite full. Here in Scotland we can have fabulously warm days, and this dress would be too warm to wear. But those days are there aren't many of those days, and certainly in a day like this May, I'll be going out into the garden this afternoon, and this is what I'll be wearing. So reasonably heavy cotton. It's not a Liberty print, which I love, but that would be a much lighter cotton. This is a medium weight cotton, so this is good for this type of climate, and I'll certainly get the wear of it through the summer months into September. I will show you at close up the photographs of the embroidery on the sleeves, which is my design. Where are we? Yes. They're not identical. They are deliberately different, and I've used satin stitch, and I've used applique, and I'm just it's quite discreet, and so I don't feel it's too fussy. Again, if I had the time, I might have done a little embroidery across here, but no, I'm just loving the cuffs. I'm loving that, and the cuffs are attached. They're actually fastened with 3 buttons. And what do I have here? Well, I thought I would put this on. This is a little brooch. A number of things I can say about my brooches. Now, I'm not a jewellery person, no rings, but I quite like brooches, to the point where I have a small collection. And this brooch here, and again I'll put in a photograph so that you can see it, is blue. It's got a nice blue stone in it. And it is one of the Downton Abbey collection. Now I go back in the winter time and watch all of the Downton Abbey series. I'm normally not a person who goes in for series and for populist history, let's put it that way. And but Downton Abbey, my sister loved it. She introduced it to me, and I definitely came around to thoroughly enjoying Downton Abbey. And one of the reasons is that I did see the wonderful actress Maggie Smith on stage. She was playing in As You Like It, and this is going back a very, very long time. We were both young women at the time. She was older than me, but she came on the stage, and it was, you know, the audience was spellbound. She just walked in, and just tremendous talent in this lovely lady. And so I enjoy watching Downton Abbey. And the last time I watched it, there was a slightly odd thing happened. I hadn't watched it for at least a year, and I just had one of these nudges to watch it, and I watched it from beginning to end, and I'd never done that before, and that's everything. And I was even going and getting, there are extra videos that sort of sit in with the series numbers, which was hours and hours of watching, and I must have been stitching samplers at the time. And it took about a week. I think it took to Monday to Friday to actually watch the entire thing end to end. And just as I finished watching it, Maggie Smith passed away. And there was something very striking about that. Anyway, Downton Abbey, this is a brooch from the Downton Abbey series. eBay again is where I got. I have no idea if they're still available, and I have no idea how many there were, but I just love this little one. Now, my brooches, I bought 3. No, I didn't buy 3. I bought this one, and yes, I did buy 3, and I bought them as medals. Now, I was self-employed, and I'd gone through a really difficult time with 3 very difficult people, and I came out the other side, and I thought, well, I think I deserve a medal for that. I came out of it successfully, and so did they, but I thought I really deserve a medal, so I bought myself 3 medals. So this isn't really a brooch, it's a medal. It's a medal. Because nobody else was going to give me a medal, and I'm sure I will never be given a medal. But anyway, I gave myself a medal, and if you want to give yourself a medal for something, I highly recommend it. I think we should sometimes, if we deserve it. So the other 2 medals were little pearl ones. They're so pretty. They're really, and I can certainly wear them as well on my dress. I'll put photos in of them, and another little pearl one here. So 3 little medals. So that ended sweetly. I did actually have jewellery as a child. It was sort of children's jewellery, and I did have one like this, which is a red and green one, which is, I think, Italian. It's sort of mosaic work. I think it's called mille-feuille, but I might be wrong over that. And that was just to remind me of my childhood. And another one here, the same sort of thing. And then this one here is really quite interesting. It's a blue one as well. It is actually a brooch, but I wouldn't dream of wearing it myself because I don't qualify. I wouldn't qualify. It's Queen Mary's Clothing Guild brooch. Again, I obtained this through eBay. And I will just pop in a little film, and I will be giving you a little bit of background history about Queen Mary and her clothing guild. That's very interesting. And having said that, my local town has, or one of my local towns, has the Tapestry of Scotland, and this was a group of people who actually came together and made, I think it's called the Great Tapestry, and our present Queen Consort, when she visited last year, evidently she put in 3 stitches into that tapestry, into the little dog. So a little connection there, sort of, and I will, as I say, I'll put in history of my of the Queen Mary Guild. And if you like brooches, why don't you collect some, or maybe you have a collection and get them out. If they're away in a drawer, start to wear them. Be inspired. Brooches. Queen Mary's Needlework Guild. In 1882, the matron of a Dorset orphanage asked for help from Lady Wolverton in providing clothes for the children in her care. Lady Wolverton responded by setting up a small sewing circle known as the London Needlework Guild. Its aim was to provide 2 garments a year for each child, any surplus being offered to other charities. By the end of the first year, the Guild had 460 members. Princess Mary Adelaide, Duchess of Teck, mother of the future Queen Mary, showed interest and in 1885 made its patron. In 1894, the year that Lady Wolverton died, 52,289 garments, mostly handmade, were distributed. On her mother's death in 1897, the Duchess of York, later Queen Mary, became patron and remained so until 1953. World War I. On the outbreak of World War I, the Guild diverted its work towards supporting the troops. During World War I, at the request of Queen Mary, branches of the Guild were established in most of the colonies, including India, Ceylon, Jamaica, the African Gold Coast, British Guinea and Canada, with the same object as the British Guild, to provide items for the troops. And in World War II, membership declined and Queen Mary worked to revitalise the movement. In 1953, on the death of Queen Mary, her daughter, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, later the Queen Mother, became patron. One of my skills, and I'm sure one of yours, is watercolouring, and I have really been blessed this summer by tulips. I love tulips, and I have had 2 pots at the top of my steps full of tulips. One are pink and I don't know the name of them, so next year when I'm putting in tulip bulbs, I will make an absolute note of the name so I'll be able to tell you. But this one here in the other pot is Estella Rynveld, and it's an absolutely, as you can see, stunning tulip. I sometimes have Carnaval de Nice, which is a red and white stripe one as well, but Estella Rynveld is an absolutely beautiful tulip. Here it is, and you can understand why the Dutch simply would have one tulip, because it's a sort that needs to be admired almost on its own. This is a parrot tulip, as far as I know, that has a serrated edge, and so I did a watercolour of them, and of one which I did in 2 different positions, by the way, and I had a total near disaster as I was working on the second one. This is the first one I did, that's the second one, and halfway through doing this, Casper, my beloved cat, I did have a disaster. In February, I had a leaking hot water pipe under my hall cupboard floor, and it leaked for 4 days. So my heating bill went through the roof on the Monday, and of course it's always at the weekend that sort of thing happens, so it went from Friday all the way through to Monday, and lovely people raced in, two lovely gentlemen raced in on the Monday and sorted out the pipe and helped me with lifting all the floorboards, and they had to take away some of the wall. And I was having kittens because I thought, oh my goodness, there's a concrete floor in the bathroom next door evidently, and were they going to have to bring in a drill and be chopping up concrete? Unfortunately, they didn't have to do that, but the floorboards were definitely ripped up, and there's this hole, and I am waiting for it to be mended, and Casper has been very upset. He repeatedly asked to go into the cupboard and jump down into the hole with the pipes, and was telling me that really these these floorboards had to be mended and put back, and it has to be mended, and of course it does. So anyway, I kept telling him, yes, I will phone up and I will nag the person to come and do it. So I was halfway through this when Casper came downstairs and went into the cupboard and went right under the floor and was meowing and mewing, and I was holding the tulip. I was holding it in one hand and watercolouring it in the other, and with this cat, and I suddenly had this idea of fire brigades and cats up ladders and firemen up ladders and firemen under the floor and heaven knows what. So I had to stop the film because I was filming it for you. Had to stop the film and race through, and of course the cat was absolutely fine, and he came out after a bit. And then I came back and I finished up the tulip. So it was like this, a few wobbles in the film. But if you'd like to watch this actually being, it's fast motion, if you'd like to watch it being painted, then do go to Fireside and Fairytale Paints under my playlist, and you'll find it there, Estella Rynveld. So there we are. I really couldn't let that tulip pass without capturing it in paint, because now we will have it. I will be putting it up on my Etsy shop as a card, hopefully. I should manage that. And so if you would like to go into my Etsy shop, which again is Fireside and Fairytale, if you'd like to have a card of this artwork, or I have some other ones up there as well, then as a friend of mine says, do feel free. So there we are. Now I'm continually having wonderful comments. It's just so lovely to be linked with you and to be sharing with you. And I thank you for all the new subscribers as well. And I'm looking forward very much to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.